Anyone still awake? Because we know the Steelers team wasn't for the majority of the game. Talking offense, talking defense. Yeah, we had our moments with both of those units. Fields had a couple touchdowns, had the almost game-winning drive to get us up 17-13. Defense had some of their splash plays, but man, for the majority of this, the game got delayed. We were just in this weird delay mode. Like we were just snoozing. We had to chill and wait in the locker rooms, and you wondered, all right, is there a chance that either team's going to come out flat because of it? Is the delay going to affect either one of these teams? There's potential for it, for sure, right? You're chilling for an hour and a half, and I feel like for us, yeah, we just never woke up. Game was delayed, and we just came out snoozing. Cowboys, on the other hand, outside of like them shooting themselves in the foot, they played the better game throughout the majority. Dak Prescott, 352 yards, 29 of 42, 352 yards. Rico Dowdle looked like the best running back out there, and he was not a first-round pick. You heard his story on the broadcast. He's been in the league for what, like 5 years, bouncing around. Finally got his opportunity. 20 carries, 87 yards. Cowboys ended up with 109 on the ground in total. More than us. We only had 92, and we were supposed to be the better running team going into this game, especially since the Cowboys were without DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. But yet, we were still there towards the end of the game with what? How many minutes were left whenever Cowboys got that final drive? It was like 5-6 minutes left. We were up 17-13. I don't know, man. We just looked bad still. That was a really bad performance. And this needs to be mentioned. We complain about Tomlin and his clock management a ton, and rightfully so. This was probably one of the worst clock management jobs I've ever seen at the end of the game with the timeouts and how we misused them so poorly, so bad. I'll excuse the first one. That's when we had the ball and we were driving, and I think it was 4th and 1. Tomlin didn't like the look. So, like, on a 4th and 1 like that, you don't like the look? Yeah, I'll give you that because we still had a lot of time left. You still had the 2-minute warning. You can keep 2 of the timeouts with the 2-minute warning. That's gonna act like your 3rd timeout. That's fine, and it ended up working out. We ended up getting the first down there with the handoff to Najee Harris. But after that, inexcusable. Like, inexcusable to use those 2 timeouts. I guess hindsight could be 2020 because we used that final timeout on literally the last play, the 4th down play. But I'm just of the mindset of, listen, man, you gotta give your team every opportunity possible to win this game. Like, there is a chance. I know, like, Tomlin's a big defensive guy. He believes in the defense, and sometimes to a fault. Sometimes he's right on it, though. Sometimes the defense does make some big plays late in the game, and the clock management is questionable by Tomlin. But because of how he handled the clock, maybe it gives the defense some extra time or an extra look or a different look at it. And so sometimes it does work out. Like tonight though, I think it was terrible. We could have used that final timeout that we used on the fourth down play, final play of that Cowboys drive. Obviously could have used that, but then using the timeout for the 12-man on the field, just eat it. Just eat it. That timeout is so much more valuable to you because if the Cowboys score, you're going to need it on offense, most likely. And we did. We absolutely did. Like, if the Cowboys end up scoring, how much time was left? Let's say and that's the other thing. I don't know why the hell we tried to return the kickoff. Like, time is more valuable there. Just let it go in the end zone, and then we'll grab it at the 30. And if we didn't use those 2 timeouts, you got 2 timeouts. You got a legitimate chance to get in field goal range and give Boswell a chance for a 50-plus yarder if we keep those timeouts. Keep the timeouts and don't botch up the kickoff. Right there. Like, that's 3 very simple things. I thought it was very, very bad clock management. And it's no guarantees that we end up scoring because we keep the timeouts or anything, but I'm just of the mindset you wanna give your team every opportunity possible to win the game, and keeping those timeouts is more valuable than the 12 man on the field penalty and also taking the timeout on the final play to get that extra look at it. Just, hey, man, there's a chance they score. Give your best effort out there. Call your best play, but I don't think we need to necessarily call a timeout and rehash this because there is a chance they score. I know you believe in the defense, but this is one play. They got some players on offense. Dak Prescott was cooking us all game. Give your offense a timeout. Fields, I think Fields got better in the second half. I think Fields was capable of like 2 or 3 plays, timeout, get balls in field goal position. But I digress, man. It's just a bad game all around. I think it was bad, and I was gonna say all 3 facets: offense, defense, special teams, but I think special teams gets a pass again here. This game, back-to-back games, special teams was pretty on point. Boswell made all of his kicks. I think Waitman was pretty good punting. Outside of the one he almost got drilled on, but can we blame Waitman for that? I think the guy almost hitting him affected his punt. Am I wrong? Special teams, I think solid. Special teams solid. Offense, for the most part, not good. Defense, for the most part, not good. And I think coaching, not good. Special teams, Danny Smith, I think they get a thumbs up. That was brutal, man. That's brutal. We stayed up all this time to watch the game end like that. That was brutal. Almost had it though. Even with the Cowboys driving down the field, them getting it to like the half-yard line, Landon Roberts out of nowhere with the big hit to get that fumble. Unfortunately, we couldn't recover. That almost made it worthwhile. Almost did. Kermit 6867 asked me, defense not good. Why? Because Dak Prescott carved us up for 352. And Rico Dowdle had 20 carries for 87 yards, 4.4 yards a carry. And it wasn't like it was CeeDee Lamb either. CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions, 62 yards. A lot of those Dak Prescott passes went to Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin. Jake Ferguson, I'll give him I think Jake Ferguson's a pretty good player. Rico Dowdle had the touchdown too. A running back caught the touchdown. And props to him because he had to have good hands on that catch because Dak underthrew it a little bit. But just leave it to the Steelers and our defense to make no-name players look like Hall of Famers on the Sunday that we play them. Seriously. Rico Dowdle, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin. And I don't want to hear people in the comments, in the chat saying like, oh, man, you're sleeping on those guys. Come on, please. Come on. Stop. Stop. Brandon Cooks got hurt. And we looked at their receiving core and said, outside of CeeDee Lamb, the only guy you should really got to worry about like that is Jake Ferguson. Because these other guys aren't proven at all. The running back room, the Cowboys running back room. They got to watch Zeke Elliott, a dude named Rico Dowdle, who I have no clue who he is. And Deuce Vaughn, I didn't even see Deuce Vaughn. Was he hurt or something? Yeah, he's not even on the box score right now. And we were expecting Dallas to not even have to worry, like Steelers on defense against Dallas in their offense. We weren't even going to be worrying about their running game like that. Dowdle ends up having 87 yards and catches a touchdown. Looked like the best running back on the field. And we have a guy like Najee Harris on our side of the ball. First round pick. He only had 14 carries, 42 yards for 3.0 yards per carry. Yeah, that's why I'm saying the defense is bad. Like we had the turnovers, but part of me thinks that those are more on Dak making terrible decisions. Those picks were terrible. I don't know why he threw it up into double coverage like that. And then the one to CeeDee Lamb that Dante Jackson picked, I don't know what he was seeing on that one either. Threw it right to Dante Jackson. They were in the red zone. So we were timely. It was a very much bend but don't break operation with the defense because we got the strip sack in the red zone. The Cowboys had no problem moving the ball on us. We had the strip sack in the red zone. We had the pick in the red zone. We had that blocked field goal. I don't think it was in the red zone. I don't know. It was. I don't think it was a kick that Aubrey typically misses, even though whenever you saw the replay, it looked like he shanked it. The only reason that we blocked it is because he pulled it to the left. But all those happened either in the red zone or on our side of the field. And then Dak's second pick, he just heaved it up, and JPJ made a nice play on it. But I think our defense, given the expectations, I said this last week against the Colts whenever we lost. Like, okay, there was some timely plays, but for the majority of the game, Joe Flacco and Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor had their way against our defense. So given the expectations, we just can't be saying, all right, cool, made some timely plays here or there, a little bend but don't break. It's just not going to cut it, given that we're spending the amount of money that we are on this defense and what we expect from them and how we're fitted to win games, how this team is built to win games. We need to be better than that. We almost pulled it off today, though. We did. It literally just came down to one play. So I think at least you could say that, I guess. But if you're going up against, because we're gonna have to face quarterbacks that I'm about to mention here, like a Joe Burrow, we got to face him twice this year. We got to face Mahomes later in the season, and then if we want to be in the playoffs, go on a run, we're obviously gonna probably have to face him or Burrow. Any of these dudes, maybe not Burrow because the Bengals are 1-4 in terms of in the playoffs, but those dudes don't necessarily make the mistakes that Dak Prescott did tonight. Not to that degree. So that's why I'm saying the defense wasn't it. Is anyone in the chat defending the defense? Outside of the splash plays, what was good about it? Okay, I see this comment bringing up the drop passes on offense. Yeah, we should talk offense now. Let's talk Fields. Felt like he took a step back this game. But then you also look, he had 2 touchdowns. The one came on the hopeful game-winning drive. Like, that was clutch from him, you know? But it almost looked like at times the lights were too bright. The game being at home, Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. He almost reverted back to preseason Fields for most of the game. He looked erratic, held on to the ball too much. You saw that stat pop up on the broadcast that he had 3 point something seconds to throw the ball, which was the most he's had all season. Yet he looked skittish in the pocket and was holding on to the ball too long. Not getting it out quickly, not making the best of reads. So, outside of almost with Fields, outside of maybe, like, 3 or 4 series, I think the first series was a net positive. We got the field goal. Even though he missed some of those throws, he missed the throw to Darnell Washington. I guess you could maybe argue he missed the throw to Connor Hayward towards the sideline. He had to reach out. I think Hayward shoulda had it. But, yeah, he missed a couple of those. He looked a lot more comfortable. The offense moved it the first series. We got the 3 points. But after that, it wasn't until Kyle Allen came in the second half where Kyle Allen came in for that one pass, threw it across the middle to Pat Freiermuth, made the quick read. And then Fields piggybacked off that. And it was almost like he needed to see Kyle Allen throw a quick pass over the middle of the field to say to himself, oh, wait, yeah, I forgot. I can do stuff like that. And then he followed it up and did like the exact same thing Kyle Allen did. And then we scored the touchdown to Connor Hayward. And then, yeah, I guess it's really just 3 series. And then the other one is where we scored the touchdown to go up 17-13 at the end of the game. outside of that, Fields didn't I mean, didn't look great, but at the same time, I do the comment I respect the comment that brought up the drop passes. The Opper Popper says, "So many drop passes." Yeah. Yeah, there was. Like, Pickens dropped one, Van Jefferson dropped a dot down the sideline. Like, there was I'd probably say, like, 3 or 4 drop passes as well. Like, Fields didn't get the best of help from his receivers today. But the reason why I feel like he took a step back is because I think last game against the Colts, he wasn't getting the best of help necessarily either, like the offense with the penalties and just how our team was doing as a whole. But he elevated the team and put them on his back, whereas this one he didn't. But I also feel like you're not always going to be perfect out there. I think sometimes fans are overcritical of their quarterback, specifically Steeler fans, and we got to see that over these last couple seasons with Kenny Pickett. Even though, yes, I do think Kenny Pickett should have played better, specifically last year for sure. But I think like almost we demand perfection game in and game out from these dudes, and it's just not going to happen because these players are human. So Fields, mixed bag. I think he did take a step back. Ball security was an issue for him, which is something that we really haven't had to talk about for his first 4 games this season. He kept the ball out of harm's way, whereas he threw 2 passes that should have been picked. I'm not gonna count the one at the end of the game because you're just chucking it up, but definitely 1 pass that should have been picked, and then the fumble stuff again. We didn't have any snap issues today, luckily, but with Fields, there's always something. There's always something in terms of, like, a ball security issue. I'm not even talking just passing, but, like, something with the snap, something with the handling of the ball, and you just can't have that. You can't. Fields has made up for it in these first 4 games because a ball security issue would happen, a snap issue, a handling issue would happen, but he'd pretty much play clean for the rest of the game, and we'd be winning these games. Or in last week's case, he was elevating the team in the second half. So we're not worrying about it as much, but when you combine that with how I think he looked for the majority of the game and us losing, it's like, when's this gonna stop? Because you know, the season moves along quickly, man. It does. If we lose next week, we're sitting at 3-3. It's like, bro, we were just 3-0 3 games ago. Time is of the essence. Russell Wilson says, "Nah, JF cooked." Russ is in the house, man. What's good? JF cooked. It's he did at times. Like you know what? I really appreciate the drive to get us up 17-13. I really do. And which is why I still think this isn't what I'm talking about right here with Fields isn't I don't think it's me saying that we should automatically go to Russ and Fields deserves to be benched or anything like that. No. I'm still good. I think you roll with Fields again. I mean, that's my take on it. The problem with this game, though, is again, he looked the way that he did. I think he took a step back and we lost. If we won, I think that buys him more time. I think there's less urgency and there's less serious conversation about putting in a Russ. If we won, if we're sitting here 4-1, Fields has the game-winning drive, right? All is well. A lot can be forgotten in an ugly game if you have a game-winning drive and you come out with the dub, right? If you clutch up in the 4th quarter, yeah, all right, we won. We won. Got out of the stadium. Ugly game, but when push came to shove, we got another win in the win column. 4-1. Beat the Dallas Cowboys. But with the loss, I guess serious questions can pop up. A serious conversation can be had. Would the offense look better with a Russ? We just compared to with what Fields looked like tonight. Would the offensive look better with Russ? Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Now, for the first 4 games, I don't think Russ is necessarily playing better than Fields. I don't think he improves our chances to win those games. I think Fields played really, really good. I said he was playing like a top 10, 11, 12 quarterback. I think the stats back it up. But tonight, ups and downs, a little bit more erratic. Whereas I think with Russ, you're getting a certain floor. You're getting a certain level from him that he's not going to be putting the ball in harm's way. He's going to be more clean with stuff. And yeah, Fields wasn't that tonight. Wasn't that overall, but I still saw some bright spots. I still saw good things out of him. Kendrick Wells, this is a good point too. He says, "No, Russ will not do well behind this O line," which is why I think you give Fields another week. I don't think you got to pull the panic button because I don't think it is this automatic that Russ is going to be so much better in this offense. I don't think it's an automatic thing to say because of the offensive line that you bring up. Although I actually think the offensive line wasn't that bad tonight. I don't. Flo Jacko says one weapon on offense, Pickens, and we choose to run with slow Najee Harris. Muth's a pretty decent weapon. I agree. I think tonight though was another example that we should look for another receiver in a serious way. And there are reports, there are rumors out there that we are legit contenders in the Devontae Adams sweepstakes. So there's that. But this was another example because Fields, he had a nice pass down the sideline to Van Jefferson, hit Van Jefferson in the hands. It was tight coverage. I'm just thinking to myself, man, if that's Devontae Adams, he's coming down with that. If it's another serious weapon out there, Cortland Sutton type, they're just coming down with it. I don't know if you could trust Van Jefferson in that capacity going forward. Calvin Austin, I mentioned this, just too small to be an outside guy, too small to be a serious deep threat. 680. Yeah, this needs to be discussed right here. He says we need another running back. We just need Jalen Warren and Cordell Patterson to get healthy. But I've been saying this in a way. I think Najee Harris definitely needs complement backs because, like tonight, there were times where we legitimately had Aaron Shampling out there and Jonathan Ward for like a full series and just had Najee Harris to the bench. But those dudes obviously aren't Cordell Patterson or Jalen Warren. They weren't really giving us much. Jonathan Ward had one nice run, but we only gave him 2 carries, so it's tough to make any hard judgments on him off that sample size. I wouldn't have mind giving him some more work because I thought that one run, it looked like he could provide a spark. But, yeah, I think Najee Harris, when he's out there, I think it's a big signal that we're going to run the ball, and he's not that big of a threat in the passing game. I think it makes our offense predictable. But when we have things going on offense, it feels more opened up. When we have momentum, then I think it's good to have Najee Harris in there because he provides a different element. Very bruising back. Defenses don't want to tackle him, and even more so in the second half. But whenever you're trying to get things up and running, and I don't know if Najee's that type of guy. 3 yards a carry, man. Like it's tough to defend. Like I think he has positive traits. He does help us out. Like he doesn't fumble the ball. He brings that bruising element, that physicality. Can catch some passes out the backfield. Had 2 receptions, 35 yards. But there's just times, a lot of times when he's out there, he leaves you wanting more. But that's why you're not paying him like a Saquon Barkley. That's why we don't view him as like a top 5 guy. But we do need a Cordell Patterson or Jalen Warren. They need to get healthy because, yeah, we need some compliments around Najee. And then that's when I think our run game will be at its best. People were criticizing me, man, whenever I don't know. I don't know if it was majority criticism or if it was like a 50-50 split, but I did hear a lot of haters on my "we should sign Derrick Henry" take whenever, Derrick Henry was a free agent during the offseason and we picked up Arthur Smith as the OC. People were like, "Nah, we're good with Najee, we're good with Najee." You see what Derrick Henry's doing over in Baltimore. You mean to tell me he couldn't be doing that type of stuff here in Pittsburgh? He wouldn't be an upgrade over Najee? That's all I'm saying. Like, there's just a difference. I think there's just a difference in Najee as running back versus a guy like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, those type of dudes. There's nothing. It's not a shot at Najee. I think it's just it is what it is. That's all. It is what it is. Tommy Vincent says Ashton Jeanty is in a Steelers uniform or should be in a Steelers uniform. Would be fire. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna go back to drafting a running back in the first round like that, but I guess if we were to do that, he would be the guy. Yes, he already has, like, over 1,000 yards in 5 games in the college football season. He's unbelievable. What am I missing here? Let me read some more comments. Is there anything out like, I'm missing from this game? I just it was a bad game. I think we you know what? I would say because I actually have this note written down, but this was, like, in the 3rd quarter, I think. Yeah, I said, "Run stopping for our defense went as expected." But then Cowboys kept giving Rico Dowdle the ball, and he kept doing better and was gaining yards on us. So, yeah, I actually don't think it went fully as expected. I thought I thought I thought for a good portion of the game, we did stop the Cowboys' run. The problem was Dak was just carving us up, and I don't know if the game plan was, "Let's keep everything in front of us, let's do the whole bend but don't break thing," because, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, Cowboys were able to drive down the field, and we were able to get the pick, we were able to get the blocked field goal, get the strip sack, but I don't know if you can just be relying on that game in and game out, relying on that strategy. But that's hey, that's what you pay a TJ Watt to do. That's what you pay. You traded for a Dante Jackson for. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's because you wanna talk about the good plays and say like, yeah, I mean that there's something to be said for that. At the same time, just giving up all those yards. Because if Dak just doesn't turn the ball over, those are field goals at least, right? If Aubrey doesn't shank that, that's a field goal for them, and we end up losing the game. We don't even have a chance at the end, right? The Cowboys are up double digits. Now, maybe the game flow is different. Maybe, Fields does some of the comeback stuff like he did against the Colts. But yeah, in another world where Dak just holds on to the ball, Cowboys might be up 2 scores in the 4th quarter. We're looking at a different type of ball game. Tommy Vincent says, "Don't forget, guys, Sutton comes back in like 3 weeks, and that's something we're gonna need because I think Beanie Bishop got picked on in this game. Yeah, he was struggling in coverage. He had one nice play or two, but way too many times he was getting carved up in the passing game. So Cam Sutton can't get here soon enough. Yeah, 3 weeks. We'll get him at the bye. He'll end up being our starting slot corner for sure. I think it's gonna have to be that way." 608 says, "You right, Deke. If Dak doesn't do that, a lot of could have been different. But the thing is, he did do that. Well, he's Dak Prescott. That is why too. He does do that stuff. So that that's a fair statement right there. And then he says, "We won the turnover battle by 3 Cowboys, 25% in the red zone, and we still lost." Well, that's just the point to this being a bad game all around by the Steelers. Yeah, we had we got 3 turnovers and still lost the game. That's egregious. Jay the Goat says, "We are injury ridden, but there's definitely a need for more offensive playmakers." Yeah, and 2 of those guys are at the running back spot. We just that they're already on the team. They just need to get healthy. Roman Wilson, he's another guy. I don't know what we're doing with Roman Wilson, why he's not in any consideration really to be playing. It seems like he's healthy. We could use him. Could be a good slot guy. Could be a good QB friendly target for Fields, but he's not out there. We drafted him in the 3rd round for a reason. Feel like he could get good separation. But yeah, Devontae Adams would help. It's also weird though too, where you see formations and we don't even have our best guy out there. Like Pickens ain't even out there. We got like multiple tight ends, and it's Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson, or it's Scotty Miller and uh, Van Jefferson. No, I just said that. Scotty Miller and who's the other receiver? Calvin Austin. Yeah, formations like that. It's like, where's Pickens at? Okay, we got Darnell out there, Connor Hayward. Oh, there's Calvin Austin and Scotty Miller. GB 1974 says possibly no. Highsmith or Herbig is going to hurt next week for sure. Herbig was playing pretty good till he got hurt. I think we definitely missed him in the second half. Because he was getting consistent pressure, and then that was just gone. And Cowboys were able to focus way more on TJ Watt. Seth says them not using Pickens on first down is just telling our hand no threat to throw deep at all. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it because there are times where it works. It works. We get the ball to Connor Hayward. We get the ball to some of the big personnel. There are times it works, but yeah, it's weird not seeing Pickens out there. It really is when you have like your 4th or 5th receiver out there with a bunch of those tight ends. It's like, man, what are we doing? And then Pickens though too, like again, a drop on 3rd down. That was a big one because it felt like Fields at that point in the second half was starting to settle down. He made a nice pass to Pickens. He's absolutely wide open. He just drops it. That's why we can't be considering Pickens amongst the wide receiver greats right now. It's little details like that he's missing. All right. I think that's it, man. I don't know what else to add to this disaster of a game. What do you guys think? Who's starting next week for the Steelers at quarterback? I think it's gonna be Russ. Not the decision I would make necessarily. I would give Fields another week, but I think it's gonna be Russ. That's my guess. I think Tomlin has a ton of respect for Russ, appreciates his experience, he's veteran savvy, all that. Tommy Vincent says Cow Allen. He had a dope little pass. You guys think it's gonna be Fields? A couple of you guys are saying Fields. I think he's going to pick Russ. I think Russ is as healthy as he's gonna be. The other thing to factor in, maybe, I don't know if this is gonna factor in a ton or there's gonna be a lot of weight to this aspect of the decision. We're facing the Raiders. Russ being in Denver these last couple of years is familiar with the Raiders and their defense from playing them a total of 4 times. So there's a caveat. I don't know if that's like top of the list or one of the top things on Tomlin's mind as to why he would go to Russ. I doubt it, but I think it's just another wrinkle to consider. I think you give Fields another week, and then if it's another loss, if it's looking more like this than what it did the first 4 weeks, then I think it's easy. I think then it's Russ. Then you feel like you tapped out on what Justin Fields can offer, and now it's time to turn the keys over to Russ. But you know what? I think if we win, though, I think if the game plays out exactly like it did tonight, and we get that stop on 4th down, I would say Tomlin goes with Fields because we won. We won. You're 4-1 with this quarterback, and he had a game-winning drive. Like, that's the narrative now. But we end up losing. Doors way more open for Russ, I think. And I think Tomlin's gonna go with Russ. I go with Fields still. That's my take. But all right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate everyone for stopping through. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm sure we'll get some sort of quarterback decision from Tomlin on Tuesday, so we'll talk about that. And then who knows what else is going to come out. There's probably going to be some type of drama, some type of headlines, or some type of quotes that comes out of the locker room or from some of the players that I'm sure we'll be discussing after this loss. But all right, I'm out of here. Stay chilling, everyone. Here we go, Steelers. Peace.